Hello and welcome to the January Seneca County IDA board meeting. Just have a little echo here. Always technical problems at times. So I think just as a quick reminder, because we are doing this as a virtual meeting, to keep your devices on mute when you're not speaking. When you do speak, if you can identify yourself, who you are, because not everybody recognizes voices that well. And I think that's it. So to start out, what I like to do is just welcome our two new board members. We have Tom Murray and Bruce Murray here. And I guess starting with Tom, if you could just give us a quick update on who you are. I think you're fairly well known, but if you can just let us know who you are and go from there.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me to the board. We look forward to being a part of the operation. Third generation dairy farmer, so to speak. We moved, but first generation on this farm currently for 30 years now. Developer and of two businesses, so to speak. Our Holstein herd here early in the 90s and through the 2000s, and then more currently developing Miranda cheese with the follow-up of my son to the place it is now. So we've been involved with numerous boards, and as most people know, I'm a little unorthodox in the way I do things, but not to say that's bad. Just I look forward to being part of the board. So any questions?
No? Okay, well, thanks, Tom. And Bruce? Yes, and Bruce?
Thank you, Steve. And my name is Bruce Murray. I am the owner with my wife of Boundary Breaks Vineyard. We are located just north of Lodi Point State Park on the east side of Seneca Lake in the town of Lodi. Actually, we're on the border. We straddle the border between the town of Lodi and Ovid. We purchased this property in 2008. There were no vines here. We were both natives of Syracuse. Both had careers in different areas. My wife was a science teacher for 30 years, and I was in business for 35 years, mostly in what we would call technology-enabled services, mostly digital technology businesses. My goal in moving to the area was to return to upstate New York and start a business that we felt could grow, could produce great products from this region and sell them around the world. Today we sell wine in 30 states and in 4 countries outside the U.S. I'm very honored and pleased to be able to take part with the IDA. And I hope we can all work toward a common goal that's good for the county. Thank you, Steve.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. So starting out the meeting, first order of business is election of officers. Because of recent departures, et cetera, we're a little tight on the officers. What we've done is offered up the following slate for approval for 2021. And that is myself as both chairperson and treasurer, Steve Wadhams as vice chair and secretary, with, I guess, the anticipation as new members come on and get on board and more familiar with the operation, then they can perhaps take over some of the officer positions as time goes on. Same thing with committees. At this point, we won't be announcing any committees this month, but I think getting people on board and the officer set, then we can go with committees for next time. So as I say, the slate that is presented is myself, chairman and treasurer, Steve Wadhams, vice chair and secretary. Are there any other nominations? Any other volunteers for any of the positions? I guess hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the slate of officers for this year?
So moved.
Valerie makes that motion.
Second, Tom Kine.
So Kelly?
Bassett?
Yes.
Mr. Brusso?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Bruce Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Tom Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Trout? Mr. Wadhams? Mr. Trout and Mr. Wadhams absent, motion carried.
Okay. Next item is everyone received a copy of the minutes from December's meeting. Does anyone have any comments, questions, or corrections? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve Menzo. Second.
Valerie second.
So Kelly?
Ms. Bassett?
Yes.
Mr. Brusso?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Kine?
Yes.
Mr. Bruce Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Tom Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Trout? Mr. Wadhams? Mr. Trout and Mr. Wadhams absent, motion carried.
Okay, next order of business is the financial statements. Since the treasurer is ill-prepared to present the financial statements, if we can have Bob, could you do that for us?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I'd like to congratulate both Mr. Murray's here for joining our board. It's a wonderful organization, and sometimes new blood will give us some, what I call a regeneration of going forward. My position with the agency, I serve as Chief Financial Officer. Previous to that position, I served on the board of the IDA for a period of almost 20 years. And in the capacity of board member, board chair, and board treasurer. I've been the CFO now for a period of 3 years. And just to kind of go over some things, what you'll receive normally in the board packet would be the following documents. One is a summary schedule of the comparative balance sheet, which reflects totals for the previous month. In this case, if we look at our report for this month, it was October 31st of 2020. Current period of operation, which be with the reporting period for this case was November 30th to 2020, along with a comparison with previous years totals for, and again, a 12-month basis, which would be, in this case, November 30th of 2019. You'll also see columns for net changes in those particular timeframes. And the next schedule that you'd receive would be the summary schedule of the comparative profit and loss statement. Again, this is a P&L statement, which reflects, in this case, for our reporting period, October 31st, 2020 numbers, November 30th, 2020 numbers, the differences between those two to give you the actual activity for the month of reporting, totals for the year ending, again, in this case, November 2019, again, with a comparison basis to 2020, along with budget totals and the budget variance in P&L for those periods. There's also a narrative that's provided describing the significant changes in the balance sheet. The narrative also describing the significant changes in the income statement, along with a budget and narrative. On a detailed basis, you're also going to find the following schedules: balance sheet previous year comparison on a line-by-line basis, profit and loss previous year comparison on, again, a line-by-line basis, P&L budget performance totals, again, on a line-by-line basis. And in cases where we have meetings of the EDC and the funding group, you'll also receive financial statements relating to those two separate agencies. When I look at 2020 from a financial statement basis, I'll just mention a few things as we review these particular documents. I think it would be imperative too that Tom and Bruce maybe have a separate meeting with Sarah, myself, and Steve to kind of go over in more detail what these numbers really represent. We don't have the time this afternoon to do that, but I think maybe at our next finance meeting, which takes place on a monthly basis, you two could join us in that dialogue and discussion. That might be beneficial for you.
I'd be happy to do that. I think it would be beneficial. Thanks.
Yes. I'm just gonna
Thanks for the invite.
I'm sorry. Someone say something? No. In reviewing the financials for November 20th, 2020, comparing it to November of 2019, I'll mention a few changes here. Again, we're looking at year-to-year changes. This is November of 2020 to November of 2019. Our current assets were up $138,000. Total accounts receivable were up $177,000, and this is due to the increase in grants receivable that occurred in this year. Long-term receivables were down. Some of that is due to a transfer from a long-term basis to a current year basis, and that was a number that was actually just under $85,000. Fixed assets were down $284,000 due to the sale of property transfer, as well as the monthly depreciation expense. Total assets were down $250,000, in most cases to the decline in fixed assets. Total liabilities were up $38,000. And that was due to increase in deferred revenues and a reduction in the retirement plan liability on a net basis. Total other liabilities were up $72,000 due to decrease, again, in this case, to deferred revenues. Total long-term liabilities were down $34,000, and that was due to the decline in the retirement plan liability. Equity was down $289,000, and total liabilities and equity were down $250,000. That $250,000 also matches the decline in the asset base. On the profit and loss side of things, significant changes occurred in the following areas. Rent and lease income were down $30,000 compared to the previous year. Agency fees were up $48,000. Payroll expense was down $59,000. That's due, obviously, to a situation of the transition of our executive director that took place in the first portion of this year. Benefits were up $45,000. That was due to a change in the medical insurance plans. Professional fees and services were up $32,000. Administrative and technical expenses up $16,000. Travel and conferences were down 10. Obviously, a lot of that is due to the COVID situation, people staying in the office and not traveling. Other non-operating revenues were up 85,000. State grants, unfortunately, were down compared to the previous year by 229,000. And site development cost relative to the kid space situation were up by 45,000. Where we've incurred expenses with the takeover of that property. Again, that's a quick review of the net changes in both the balance sheet and the P&L statement. I have prepared a summary which will include a more extensive review of all the financials, which I will forward to each member of the board after this meeting, which will show more detail, especially helpful, hopefully, for Bruce and Tom. That's a quick review of my presentation today.
Okay. Well, thanks, Bob. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Bob? Hearing none. Can I have a motion to approve the financial statements for the month?
Is Menzo motion to approve?
This Tom, second.
So Kelly, welcome, Steve. We unanimously agree that you would make a great vice chair and secretary.
See what happens when you show up late.
Oh yeah, you're also chair and treasurer.
Okay. Sorry about being late, guys.
So Kelly, could you do a roll call, please?
Ms. Bassett?
Yes.
Mr. Brusso?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Kime?
Yes.
Mr. Bruce Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Tom Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Wadhams?
Yes.
Mr. Trout, absent, motion carried.
Next item is just the typical annual financial disclosure and no conflict of interest forms. Typically, we bring these to the meeting at the beginning of the year, but Kelly has provided an envelope. So you do have it. It's this part in the packet. I guess Kelly, Sarah, just have the question on how people comply with the sexual harassment training portion.
I will let Kelly speak to that.
So if you've already had training through your employer, they should give you a certificate. And if you could maybe get a copy and forward that to me. If not, I'm working with the county to see if they're giving any training. That's how we did it last year. They gave a free training, online training. And once I hear back from them, I'll let everyone know who hasn't completed the training.
Okay, well, thanks, Kelly. So again, try to get those in. Even if you're not able to get the sexual harassment form soon, at least provide the other forms so we can go through those. Next, we have the sort of set of typical IDA resolutions. As you can see in your packet, there's a number of resolutions, 7 resolutions, but we divided those up into 3 separate categories. Some of the members do have conflict of interest with banking institutions and with Bob Kernan as CFO. So unless anyone has an objection, we'll go and vote on those 3 separate groups. Hearing none, we'll take group number 1 first, which is the designation of banking institutions. Can I have a motion to approve? There's a list of 8 separate banking institutions. So can I have a motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Valerie,
I'll sec-
second.
So Kelly?
Ms. Bassett?
Yes.
Mr. Brusso?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Abstain?
Mr. Kime?
Abstain?
Mr. Bruce Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Tom Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Wadhams?
Yes.
Mr. Trout, absent, motion carried.
Okay. In the second group, there's a 5 separate resolutions. One for check signatures, second legal counsel, third the agency accountant bookkeeper, fourth one agency auditor, and the 5th chief executive officer. As long as no one wants to break any of those 5 out, could I have a motion to approve those?
Motion to approve is Menzel.
Do I have a second?
I'll second this, Steve.
So Kelly?
Ms. Bassett?
Yes.
Mr. Brusso?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Kime?
Yes.
Mr. Bruce Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Tom Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Wadhams?
Yes.
Mr. Trout, absent, motion carried.
Okay, the third group is there's one resolution for Bob Kernan as Chief Financial Officer. I think did a good presentation today. So with that, could I have a motion to approve?
Valerie makes that motion.
And second?
Tom Kime, I'll second it.
So Kelly?
Ms. Bassett?
Yes.
Mr. Brusso?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Abstain?
Mr. Kime?
Yes.
Mr. Bruce Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Tom Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Wadhams?
Yes.
Mr. Trout, absent, motion carried. Oh, Steve, you're muted.
Thanks. Yes, next item is Jeff Shipley from the Chamber of Commerce. If you can give us a brief update on chamber activities.
Sure, Steve. A couple things to bring the committee or the board up to, as I've talked about in the past, we continue to move. There we go. Can everyone hear me?
We can now.
We continue to move forward with One Seneca joint collaborative between the IDA, the chamber, the county government, many area businesses and private entities, as well as nonprofits. One of the things to update this board on is the public awareness campaign that group has been involved with. Most recently, we ran a full-page ad in the Seneca County Area Shopper, urging residents, businesses, the community at large to be responsible, help stop the spread of COVID by doing basic things like mask wearing and the like. It has been received with a lot of positive comments from throughout the community, and I think the point of bringing together all of the entities in a unified fashion is really making a difference. And so I want to thank Sarah and her help and all of the assistance that the IDA has offered to that forum. Secondly, the Chamber, as all of you are aware, is the tourism promotion agency for Seneca County, part of the strategic economic development plan that the IDA board is part of as well, is promoting this area. And we are about to formulate our 2021 advertising plan. And in particular, we have a fairly robust digital advertising plan this year. It is an extension of where we left off in 2020. And I think this community is going to be much to the benefit of having such a sizable digital marketing buy for 2021. Finally, I will mention I've been in communication with the New York State Canal Corporation. And if you are not aware, please help pass along the message that the Canal Corp is looking for concessionaires to submit an RFP, I guess, to the state to provide services along the canal. The canal is certainly an important asset to Seneca County. And if you know of anyone that is particularly capable of running any sort of concession that's unique to the trail or a trail-based activity, could be an excursion, a tour, an instructional activity, an accommodation, overnight accommodation, any of those, the Canal Corporation is going to be putting on an informational session on January 11th. So please help pass the word. That's my report, Steve.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Next would be one from Don Trout on the Board of Supervisors. I do know that the Board of Supervisors had their annual reorganization meeting last night, and Bob Heisen retained his role as chair of the Board of Supervisors. I don't know, Sarah, if there's anything else that you've heard or how that might affect who's on our board from the Board of Supervisors.
I haven't heard anything else, but I see that County Manager Rowe is on the line. Mitch, I don't know if you have anything from the county's perspective you would to add in Don's absence.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think Chairman Heisen may also be on the meeting. We did have the organizational meeting last night. As Steve mentioned, Bob was re-upped as chairman for 2021. I would defer to Bob on any further comments. It's wholly within his jurisdiction in terms of chairmanships of committees and other appointments. We just had the meeting last night, so a couple other things if I could mention. We have the matter of the conveyance of the 414 line to Seneca County. A lot of progress did ultimately get made towards the end of last year. We have to close the deal, if you will. So I had replied back to Sarah earlier this morning on an email she had sent me yesterday. Hopefully we can be in a position to get that done here in the first quarter of 21. We have the airfield matter to come to terms with. So hopefully we will get both of these items tended to here sooner rather than later into the new year.
Okay, thanks,
We're looking
Mitch.
forward to it.
Yes. Hopefully exciting year. Hopefully by this time next year, our COVID issues will be behind us and we'll be back to, I guess, normal operation. So although on our briefing memo, there was an item for other business, there is no other business. I guess, Sarah, is there anything else new or last second?
No, nothing at this time.
Okay. So, therefore, I request a motion to enter into executive session for the discussion of the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of particular persons or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of particular persons.
I'll make a motion. This is Steve.
Second?
The second, Menzel.
Okay. So we need to go into executive session. So, okay. We're back out of executive session. Just waiting for everyone to make sure we're connected in.
I just sent a message to Pat and Kelly. They should be calling back in.
Okay. And we should have background music playing.
Yes, I'll try to make note of that for next time, getting some elevator
Does
music.
anyone play an instrument or sing well?
Hey, Sarah, while we're waiting for those guys to come back on, the annual financial disclosure forms and so on that, what helped me is to have Kelly maybe send last year's back to us, scan them and send them back to us, just so I make sure we don't miss anything I put on last year, and then I can update it from there. If that's possible, maybe that's easier for somebody else too. It would be for me. I was just looking in my file here and I can't seem that I see where I kept the copy. So,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, Kelly, I think you're back on the line now. Do you have copies of the previous disclosure forms to send for reference?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So then we're back in public session. I'd like to make a resolution for a 5% pay increase for Kelly. Not only in a recognition of a regular job, but for the additional work and effort she's put in during the absence and transition to a new executive director. So can I have a motion to approve the pay increase?
I'll make a motion. This is Steve.
Second?
This is Tom. I'll second.
So I guess Kelly, roll call.
Ms. Bassett?
Yes.
Mr. Brusso?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Kime?
Yes.
Mr. Bruce Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Tom Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Wadham?
Yes.
Mr. Trout absent, motion carried.
And I think Menzo has made a motion to adjourn.
Absolutely.
I think that's standard in our minutes. So second?
I'll second. This is Steve.
Okay, well, we can do this with a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone who wants to keep going? Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I guess we'll see you again in February.